Hey everybody, it's DREER here with Full Flex Audio, and today I have been asked if I can break down my track Widow from my EP, the Serial EP. So, when they asked me if I could break down a track, I was wondering which one, because there's many reasons for me to pick any of the three. Myopia has this really stripped back minimalistic style that sort of has all these crazy little crunchy and stretched fills. Toy Box also has some really cool arrangement and also really cool moments in it. But I figured they were both quite similar, and I want to pick the one that sort of stood apart from the other two and is memorable for its own sort of reasons. Particularly, I want to talk about sound design, so we're just going to get right into that one, mostly because I have a feeling that will be the question that I'll be asked the most in this EP and surrounding it. So, with the sound design of this track, if we just drop it into the drop, right? The parts that really pique the interest, I guess, are the little bells and whistles and the fills, sort of that interplay between this bass line. So if I open up my fills here, you can see there's this nice little ending of the phrasing with these basses. I'll just solo it here, for example. Pretty straightforward. What I can say, this is a very stock standard me kind of thing to do, what I would do is I'd pull up Apache Massive, and I would just bring it over here. I'd find a wavetable that I like and quickly just get it to a point that is satisfactory. And sometimes I'll flatten it, sometimes I won't. If I was to like flatten it into audio, that would mostly be if I want to make something that I want to mangle some more into something a bit more crazy and wild. But because the track was very steady, I didn't want to, I guess, go too ham with the sound design like in the other two tracks of the EP. So it's pretty conservative in terms of fills, I guess, in the drops here. You've got your fun little audio clips like this, and it's probably the same as this one, just pitched down slightly more. And the formants, as you can see, have been like pulled all the way down, and the flow is a little bit different, but not too much different, These little riser things, again, could possibly have just been this single patch, and then I've flattened and just modified it to fit the rhythm that I needed. So those are the fills, pretty well self-explained. I would also, I guess, like, moving forward after that in terms of sound design in this track, the real ear candy in it is this little moment here in the track, this like switch up, because as you've noticed, there's three little like movements in the drops of this song. So when I say three, it's sort of like, I guess, the flow swaps up, like. So what's going on here, right? There's this very big synth after this pretty minimalistic deep dubstep sort of thing, and now it's going into a more rhythm kind of territory. So if we open up this, it's really, really funny when I looked back at this. When you open this up, I noticed, my God, there's so much automation going on. Like we've got this being automated, we've got what appears to be, oh, okay, well that appears not to be moving, so I just scared myself. We have parameters moving about in 3 different instances of massive, which is super pedantic if I was to be honest with myself. But it sounds really cool. It has like a lot of internal movement in the flow. It, as you can see here, like the 3 of them seem to be all shifting in the position of each oscillator of each, relative patch in massive. So really this sustain node is 3 massives stacked on each other. And yes, the processing and EQing of it was an absolute nightmare, but it really, like, you couldn't get a really cool articulation like that without it, and then back to here. And like even these fills are like, very wacky and fun in their own right. Like we got this little trickly one, I believe, which it will need to just play here. So this trickly one here, which is very, stabby. And I guess like the main, I guess, trick here is texture and the grains. Again, this could have also, the name of the game with a lot of this is massive, I suppose, but I did just notice here that it's actually a Mr. Bill sample, I believe, that I've completely mangled into whatever this is. So moving down here, we've got this section here. There's a nice pulse going on as well, from these like sort of wonky, wookish. And then it carries on into this final breakdown section, which I think really just is like a really nice bow on top in this arrangement. So again, keeping this wonk relatively unaffected by the processing. Literally, it just looks like there's a rhythm shifter in there, which I cannot say who or where I got it from. It's been a while since I've looked at this project. And then it looks like it's just, pretty normal cleanup sort of thing, like EQ wise. So there's a little bit of modulation going on here. And then a bit of reverb automation to filter it out a bit more. So I guess, and also we've got a couple more things going up here as well. Just some little articulations from these worms here. Cannot tell you how I made them. It's very simple though, like getting a tone like that. It's quite simple. It's usually just filtering, some sort of sine, like basic shapes, sine waves, triangle waves, all that stuff with probably auto filters as well. This one seems to have been just, it must have had that automation baked into it. This one here, see, it's, controlling those very strange frequencies and conforming them to some sort of structure in there. So that's the first drop. In the second drop, there is a bit of a hard left turn, I guess, in how the flow, like you'd expect the flow to be similar to you know, this section over here, right? Like, but instead we get something like this from the second drop. So what's going on here? I didn't want to mess too much with the phrasing, as it were. Like, you know, the phrasing in the first drop is very hard to expand on. So instead, I, from the looks of it, just may have sort of copied over the sub, but then changed a few notes. And then the thing that everyone will notice is I've added some extra bells and whistles, being these wobbles, which I believe is this one. No, it's not. What a messy project this is. So let's have a look. Let's go looking for what is making this. It would probably be this one. So we got a couple things. We've got this wobble here, which you can almost not hear. This one here, which is a nice crunchy top texture, being made from isotope iris. Okay, so isotope iris is actually lots of fun isotope iris. It's a multi-sampler, but the really cool thing about it is that you can pull up in this little area here a sample. It's like a multi-sampler, and essentially you can, you know, get some sort of little spectrum thing, kind of like how RX8 has a spectrum that you can like cut in and out. So let's just, for the sake of, you know what, I actually don't want to touch it because I'll be too scared to mess with it. But it looks like yeah, so it looks like there's some noise, like a really noisy sample I've put in here, and then I've clearly EQ'd the crap out of. And I've also added like 2 noise generators here with erosion to get that tone as well. So what is that on top of? It's on top of this right here, which is a ring modded operator from what this channel is telling me. So we get this. And it looks like this second one here is just doing all the magic with it, so yeah, you can get some cool tones out of it. And it's a very basic sounding thing, but again, I didn't want to go over the top with the sound design of this track. I kind of wanted it to contrast the other 2 in the EP in a minimalistic kind of way. But then you know, couple it with your crunchy texture and this little wobble here. Very nice. I've frozen it from the looks of it and just mangled it a bit more, so let's have a listen. I think this was mostly just to control, like get a better control over the pitch of it, because, you know, ring modding it is a bit finicky and I didn't want to keep like just moving. Funnily enough, I'm like, I don't want to automate too much after literally automating 3 massives together in a group in many different ways. And then obviously that's sort of that bit. We go into here, I believe, which is probably, yep, so it's a combination of these 2 wobbles here, and they stack up really nicely. This appears to be just a sub bass that I have blown the ever-loving crap out of with a saturator on a sinoid fold. So what you would do is you'd get your sub or what have you. For some reason I used an arpeggiator, I don't know why. And then you would, I don't know, just... I'm so sorry, that was really loud. So good fun. And then you would put something like a massive on it, I don't know, and then you would just get a nice crunchy texture on it with crystallizer, which is a granular echo synth thing. One of my favorite delays, actually, crystallizer, funnily enough. And yeah, that's that noise. And then they're always being articulated with very straightforward. And then obviously going back into the switch up, but it's, you know, almost the same story as what we had in the switch up on the first drop. Just different, you know, different spots on each wavetable to create different tones and timbres. And then, you know, it ends in relatively the same way. And then we get a few words from Booker's Finest that I heard on his Instagram story and wanted to include in this just because I felt like it reflected sort of how I felt.
But I didn't start making dubstep. I didn't start making music for the people. Luckily, people liked most of my dubstep and weird shit, so that's why I'm here. But yeah, yesterday I was talking about it, that good songs are either hated or loved. So yeah.
And I think I might leave this very quick breakdown on that. So yeah, what did we learn today? Stack synths, automate them a lot to get some cool movement. Filtering is very important, and layering is very important. Things that are basic and rudimentary, but we can always forget it from time to time. But when we remember it, we can create some pretty interesting and fun tracks that have different colors and contrasts in each other. Alright, that'll be it from me. Make sure you stream Widow and the other two tracks, Toy Box and Myopia, from the Serial EP. And let me know what you guys reckon. What sound design tricks do you like the most? What is the craziest switch up you've made in a song so far? I'd be really interested to know that stuff. Alright, see ya.